Good evening and welcome to Mindful Live 181. I'm your host Nathan Springer. Thank you for being here. It's the 2nd of February. It's Thursday, so it's Thursday Talks. We are already inside it. We're talking about gym, and some women want a woman-only gym, and apparently some men are offended by the idea. Now, Ria, you're asking what is wrong with that? Why is that? The thing is, I can't answer for those men. Some men might just be ignorant and silly, but some people answer one question that they are faced with the back knowledge of all of the other times they've seen questions like it. So some men are answering women need a woman only gym, and saying something to the effect of, so you think all men are predators, so why you need to do that? You think all men coming there for you? And the thing is that may not be what the woman might be saying. Although there are indeed some women who previously, in some of their gym videos, I don't know if you saw that over like the last 2 or 3 weeks, there have been quite a few viral videos where women try to shine up different men in the gym, saying the men trying to track them, saying the men were being creeps. And oftentimes a woman comes in the gym and does a handstand for a minute long, and she's surprised that she does it in an extremely tight pants, and she's surprised that a man is lifting weights and glances 2 times over his shoulder at her. That's ridiculous. And sometimes some men might be answering with that thought in mind. Also, some men really do feel like they're entitled to dictate where women should be. That is true. There are some men like that, and they want that to be the case, that they must be able to see where to be with a woman. But I find that ridiculous. Like, growing up, that was never a thing. It has always been the case that women want and generally require separate spaces from men. Like, there is a strength difference, and the chances are that there can be creepy, violent, even weird men out there. So nothing is wrong if a woman wants a woman only space. Like, that does not bother me one bit. I am confused by men who are bothered by that to me.
That scenario that you raised, where it is, and this is absolutely correct, where it is said that there have been videos of people women posting that, this man cutting my video, or this man harassing me, or whatever, when in truth and in fact the man was just minding his business, probably staring at something past her direction, not necessarily at her. Especially in scenarios like this where it is you are seeing that women are weaponizing their social media. Wouldn't you then elate in wanting them to go somewhere else so you could trade in peace, so it wouldn't look like you oogling nobody?
You should, but
no,
I agree.
I mean, exactly.
You should. That's first up. Some men might see it, however, as if the problem, women making the problem in the male-female dynamic, women making the problem, and now by the woman saying she needs a woman-only gym, she's making it seem like men are creeping on her. Like, by a woman saying she needs a woman-only gym, she's saying men are creeps.
She never said that gyms should be defined by sex. It should have men gyms and women gyms. She just said specifically there needs to be a gym dedicated to women only. She didn't say all gyms need to follow this.
Yeah.
And granted, if it is you do not want to go to a female only gym as a woman, you can go to the regular gym. The same thing as a man. If it is you find, well, if women get in their own gym for themselves, we want our own gym for ourselves. And if it is you want to establish that, if you all can put on your own video, I find somebody need to bring an all-male gym to Trinidad, and if it is you as a man want to train at the all-male gym and not in the unisex mixed gym, okay.
But that's the thing. There are all-male gyms technically all around Trinidad right now. There are gyms, home gyms, more private gyms where it's only fellas, a group of friends that are the ones that are always there. There is that opportunity. Like, I just find that very strange.
Is it specifically like no females allowed?
I don't.
It's just
I don't think
men who are together.
I don't know how many are specifically no females allowed, but it doesn't have to necessarily have a sign to be a male only gym. And I think women should be able to do that. And I would find it strange if a woman says, listen, for whatever reason, I would like to be around women only when I'm doing this. And a man is like, no, I must still be like, what, sir? Like, do you protest to go in the woman's bathroom too? Like, That's very strange to
And
me.
this is why I say it have a real undercover Batman in Trinidad and Tobago. Because men who genuinely like women, who respect women, they see no issue with it. They say, okay, you all want to have privacy, or you all want to feel a little bit more secure when you're gymming. Next thing you know, it's something as simple as, if it is I'm in the gym and my period comes and I don't have the necessary sanitary requirements on me, right? And my menstrual is showing. Even though I'm embarrassed still in an all-female gym, it is still more secure for me in myself. You know, somebody might quicker come across and tell me, hey, so and so is the case. And it's just for me personally, when it is you consider what security you can get in an all-female gym, is something that you could look forward to.
I have no idea. I personally have zero idea why that sounds problematic. Like to me, when I hear all-female gym, I'm thinking, for example, Muslim women, they will go to an all-female gym, while for Muslim women, a general unisex gym would nearly be impossible. I saw HB Nikki Groupie talking about, some men brought up it's really about how women dress, and that is a finicky thing, in that I think there is some dishonesty sometimes. Just now. I think there is some dishonesty sometimes where people attempt to pretend like they don't know what they know, while we're all big people and we know what we know. We know what shows and what attracts eyes and etc. etc. But even beside that, the truth is that gym wear also tends to be of a certain kind. There's a certain kind of make and material that is gym wear. So I would expect a woman-only gym to sell out with married women and many of the. You know what? On that note, I wonder if I could source a warehouse and open a gym, boy, and name it a women's only gym. That I am sure I will make a killing.
For the business, people just wanted to dumb down the idea of it. But right, so hear me out with that, right? On the topic of clothing in the gym, hear me out when it is I say. I always am confused, but I understand to an extent when it is men start to talk about how women dress, especially considering that, their argument is that, we as men are visual creatures. We are predators in nature. We always on the hunt, whatever, right? It doesn't matter whether the woman is in a gym, whether the woman is going to school, whether, when I say school, I don't mean like secondary school, I mean like tertiary education, going to college, going to a fete or whatever party. At the end of the day, no matter what she wears, let us be real, you're going to watch.
Like, wait, just now, Aria.
No, don't hear me out. If somebody comes into the gym, right, and she's wearing her work suit and she's walking across, before she even changes into her gym clothes, you're already watching her. Let us be very real. And let me just say that when it is, you consider what. Now, for men, it may be different because you all wear like the same jeans pants 5 days for the week. But when it is you as a female, when it is you understand how clothing empowers you,
jumping shiny,
it's a game changer.
Right,
it's a real game changer, especially when certain clothing gives you not just comfort but security. So, for example, a certain pants in the gym, like a track pants for women, the chances of me ripping a track pants versus me ripping a tights, the track pants probably have like a 50% chance of ripping. The tights probably 95% chance of not ripping, because the material is stretchy, the material is more on my skin, as opposed to it have a space where it is tension is created for it to boost. When it comes to the tops in particular, women need support for, that thing that they have going on up here, right? So even in sometimes the bra that they wear, it is already bulky to put on, that when it is you are working out as well, some inconveniences, like when it gets stuck in the Velcro or in the zip and your jersey or your top twist or whatever, something as simple as that is very annoying. And to be honest, if it is you as a man knows full well, functional functional wear is important, which is why you would wear like a certain type of vest or with a certain type of material or whatnot, or with certain pants. Even when it is you're wearing the pants, you're wearing like those leggings things underneath it, or however it is, whatever it is you wear. If it is you understand clothing, then you should understand that women have particular clothing too that's just comfortable. And as I said, some clothing legit makes you feel empowered. It makes you feel better when it is you put it on. You can legit say, "Hey, I am secured in this. I feel safe in this. I feel like I could."
I don't doubt you. Okay. Several things, Anna. One, I don't doubt you that certain clothes feels better. I'll get back to that after I come back from the first part, where you said men will watch anyway regardless of what you wear. Now, there is fact to that, but there's also some you're throwing in a mixture there. It's like yes, certain men especially, like a man who's a pervert. If we're talking about somebody who's a pervert is a pervert and it's irrelevant. But to make it seem like you're unaware that certain clothing attracts more attention or a faster gaze, that's a lie. Like I think every grown woman knows that is a lie. You know that certain things attract more attention. You know which of those certain things generally attract more attention. Then, second to that, what you're saying there, I don't doubt that there's some clothing more comfortable. I do not doubt that one bit. But something I always bear in mind is that regularly when I hear the conversation about some of the clothes that has to be tight, has to be so revealing because that's what makes them comfortable, there are many women who say otherwise and dress otherwise. I know of some women who dress conservatively consistently and they're convinced that the conservative style of dressing is so much more comfortable. Now, you could say that I don't know because I'm not a woman, and that might be so, but I'm just saying what I have seen. I have seen people dress otherwise and they say they're comfortable dressing otherwise too. Now, I think that's irrelevant to the conversation really and truly, because one, I am a firm believer that regardless of what you wear, you aren't asking for that ever famous thing. That's obviously true. That is obviously true. And also, on the flip side, a woman's only gym, I don't understand what clothing has to do with allowing. I want to say allowing that, but who allows that? What do you mean allow? Like,
hold on, can I get the
jump in.
Before you start the blow off steam. Good night, everybody. Alright, I'd just like to say one thing regarding the whole video. I understand the girl point of view where women might want their own space, that's fine. I neutral about the whole thing. The thing I don't understand is the community reaction on both sides. Men, well, as us look at it as empty barrels just make the loudest noise, and most of the men that complain, they can complain, they have the opinion, whatever, cool, but like be real, at the end of the day, nobody really taking on all you go and do all the training, do all the thing, did she even studying all that kind of thing. And then for the girls side, I don't like when all the girls jumping up ball and all the perverts jump out, like, no, because it have the average fellas who would go to the gym and be like, aiming that at us, because when it generalize men and make it seem as though we are predators or some kind of thing and you're uncomfortable being around men, it's like, since when? Like, who all just meet? Because management in gyms supposed to deal with these kind of creeps or whatever the case may be. So I think people blowing it out of proportion when it is coming to some kind of, I guess, agenda war. Women here, men here, that kind of shippiness. The next thing is, like I was talking about the clothes, that's fine. Everybody could wear whatever they want. No, it doesn't matter. Everybody, men is wear these thin strap vests where the nipples halfway showing all kinds of stuff, and girls when tight boxer like shorts are like, that's why it's only underwear. That's up to them. But the whole thing is that I think the culture itself, what people is promote when they're going to say, oh, I need to be looking this way, that way, whatever the case is, and get a certain reaction out of it. And if this fella not looking at me, but these kind of fellas, oh, them as creeps, so on and so forth. And that culture can, well, I hate to use it, but toxic. And it creates a rift for just a simple discussion.
I agree. I agree. HB Nikki, for one, I never once said women need a dress code. That's never what I said. You're saying that people should be able to dress how they want. I don't understand the word should when it comes to life. Like, what do you mean should? What do you mean by that? Like, okay, I should be able to leave my house unlocked. I should be able to shut down on the BTHM without problem. I mean, you should be able to do so. I don't even understand what's the point of the should in that case. I'm not talking about should. I'm not talking about a dress code. I'm just talking about reality. You knowing that one thing causes something. You know that. Let's not be fooled by that. And the reasoning behind it. Like, okay, you can dress how you want to dress. That is fine. But don't lie and make it seem like, oh, I didn't know that when my buttocks is exposed, more men watch at me. I never knew this before. Like, oh gosh, don't mama guy us like that. Like, if you want to dress like that, that's your prerogative. You're free to do that because of the nature of the society we live in. But you must understand, you aren't mama guying people really with that. You're mama guying yourself. It's not true. That's not how it actually works in that way.
Nathan, I'd like to add one last thing before you come on. Just one last point. And I say everybody supports women having their own gym. That's fine. But the issue is, let's say hypothetically she's speaking about men in general in gym make her uncomfortable.
She didn't.
Right, I'm just saying that. Just saying. But when women have their own space, the creep's going to find that place. The average man who's training gym stay in their ass in their normal gym, but the creep's going to be like, hey, that's what I'm going to training. We go start a line around there.
That is a good point.
And then they're going to have discomfort, and then the girl's going to be like, I need to bring our male friend around, I need to carry me and then carry me back home. And then they're going to end up back in the same gym that you leave because they wanted us.
No. That's why, just now, pause everyone. That's why I think they're talking about making rules to make it a female-only gym. So if a man attempts to come to this gym, he has announced that he's a creep, so now we could actually prosecute this man. This is a female-only space. It's like a man going into the woman's toilet. You don't need men necessarily standing guard at the woman's toilet for, generally speaking, men not to go in. And I think that's the idea. Now, someone said something up there that I think helps to cast a better light on this, even in some men understanding it. They said out of 10 men, 3 might be creeps. Now, I think that's a high number. I might say out of 10 men, 1 might be a real creep, the other 2 might just be awkward. But here's the problem. Here's the problem. Out of 10 men, 1 might be a creep, a real creep. And let's say there are 10 women interacting with these 10 men. That 1 creep of a man might have 10 interactions with each of the 10 women. So for each woman, in terms of her experience with men, she has experienced a creep talking to her 10 times. But for the other men who are part of the non-creep category, they're like, but I'm not a creep. You're saying you're experiencing all that creep behavior. I'm not a creep. The thing is, men need to understand the reality that if a woman is experiencing creepish behavior, she would want to go to a place where she doesn't experience it. And if you are just part of the general group where it ends up catching in some creeps, I could understand why she wants to exclude them too. But on the other hand, women also need to understand when they're complaining about the creeps, be very careful not to class the creeps with the men in general. You see, when you clear the men out the space, it makes it seem like you're painting the men as creeps. Seem. Alright, yeah.
Right. So let's just, I know you didn't see the video, but Nathan, when she made the video, she never made a video saying, all man is creep, or she didn't say man is creep, or man tossed you, or anything like that. She simply said, for her, female only gym, and she put on reasons, she put on her thing that, we should get a female only gym. She never mentioned men in her video. So that was the first green flag for me. She just said we need a female only gym, right? It is the men who added to what it is they thought she said, because, and somebody put it in the comment section, that it sounded feminist. And this is a problem that we have in general across the board. From the time that you mention something that for the opposite sex seems like it's not for them, from women to men and men to women, it always feels like an attack. And it is because they hear the message now with this preconceived bias in their head. They turn the message to make it into what it is they think they heard.
Yeah, I remember.
And
I said that at the very beginning. One, I didn't see the video, and two, I could kind of figure that. That is what I figured. That the men who are responding to her video, they aren't responding to her video. They're responding to all the feminist women who ever said anything about men at the gym. And that's the problem with the toxic online thing. I actually started talking about social media in the first place. That's part of the problem with the whole toxic online system, where people see themselves as, okay, you're attacking my tribe here, so now I have to defend myself as a tribe. You have attacked my entire tribe, and I'm defending myself as such. So it's nearly like men and women as two different tribes are having a running war. And what she did there, maybe on her side, I don't know her heart and what she was thinking. Maybe on her side, she really was just plainly talking about the sense of a female-only gym, which obviously makes sense. But for some men, obviously, they saw that as, okay, that was actually a sneak diss. That was another shot fired in the war between men and women. Like, there are some people who are really hyped up on that men and women war talk and behavior. So I am honestly not surprised at all, to be very honest. I'm not surprised even a little bit.
If you watch it, the problem is in the comments, it's not the actual video. It's the community that respond to the video. So that's what I'm saying. I have no problem with women wanting a only female gym. Yeah. But it's the responses from both sides, not just men. It's a real men who fighting it down, and it's like, dog, all you calm down. Yeah. But the women who cannot say, calling men like the perverts come out, it's like, all you calm down with that too now, because all you're feeding the fire.
Addressing what you said. So Chinese Douglas did make a point where it is, and we did say this before, it is not all men, it is some men, right? And this is where I think some things changed in the responses, because in the initial instance, she was responding to a couple of the comments actually on the video, which was from the same creeps, perverts, same people who outed themselves because, like, is this really how you feel? But then after a while, you actually started to get even men, because obviously women would say, do you see why we need protection? Because you all are saying that it don't have creeps out here, but just look at the comments under the video. Look at the people making replies and stitching this video. But then it actually did have some men standing up and say, like, you could see why it is they would need a space based on the reactions, based on the responses, based on what is happening in the general discussion now about having a female-only gym. So yes, Chiny Douglas, you are correct that it is a toxic situation that makes it bad for the other men who are good in character. But this is the thing about it. The men who are good in character are the ones who agree or don't have a problem with it. And it is because they know that when it is they go to gym, they actually go to gym for going to the gym. And if it is there's somebody in need, or if it is somebody asks them for help, it's not them thinking, all right, well, I'm going to try and shoot my shot a little while after this. Or she asked me to spot her, that means she real feeling me, and she feeling the dog, yeah, thing. No, it's just, you're in gym, somebody asks you for help, somebody else asks you for help, or you end up building a community after a while where it is, when it is, I come in the gym on an evening, I just look forward to seeing you because, and that is, and I'm sure the very same female, I am sure she has men in her life that she could go gym with, or that could accompany her to gym, because it's not all men. They are genuinely not just creeps living in the world, but it is the persons who are the creeps that started to comment and make it seem like if it is this big thing, and I think it's like, obviously out of all the creeps commenting, if it's 30 of them,
may I ask one thing though? Do you think is the trend of girls in the States or whatever who doing the videos and making men out to be creeps is a response from men when they see that something similar down here? They're going to be like, wait, that come down here now, so now going to my gym. So I think that's what kind of fed a lot of the fellas to react and be like, what's going on? All of it is not as bad as that, because when you're on TikTok, you're gonna see like tens or hundreds of videos of girls making of us as creeps. So it have that response coming from men too.
Well, on two notes on that. But the first thing I'm going to address Richard here, he said the pervs is in a very small minority. Nathan just spoke about this. They may be in a small minority, but they are the ones most public with what they are saying. And the same way, let's say the person, the username is at TriniBoy868. Let's just say that is his username, and he goes to a gym. I am not going to know this man who stands up in front of me here in gym is a pervert. I'm not going to know that. But if it is, I was going to the same gym he was going to, and I saw that he put a comment under one of these videos saying something like that. I am not going to consider and say like, hey, like this is how this man really feels, because it is very telling when it is you try to make it look like you have an entitlement to a woman only space.
Two things.
Wanting a space alone is not so much the issue.
Again, I don't know how many times I could.
Being held accountable.
I don't know how many times I'll say it, but I agree with that fully, 100, fully. But two things that again are the same numbers problem when you're looking at it. Comments on social media are a toxic place. Coming from somebody who makes some larger social media posts, comments are a very toxic place, and the more anonymous the comments are, the more toxic they are. It is not a random sampling of the population. Comments, especially anonymous comments, you're going to pull out all the psychopaths in your society. So that's one to understand, that the average normal people aren't the ones commenting. So if you see 100 comments and it seems like 80 are psychopaths, that doesn't mean 80% of the population are psychopaths. That just means comments encourage the psychopaths to come out. That's one. And I think that's linked to what Fari said there. The pervs in a small minority, are we living in the same Trinidad? I think, again, that is the same numbers thing as we spoke about there. Pervs do a lot of perving. By just numbers of the men who are involved even in attempting to get someone of the opposite sex, you'd recognize pervs are in the minority. Because nearly half of men are already outside of that whole dating system, even attempting to get a woman. So they are in a minority. That's not to say that some women may not be stumbling upon pervs every 2 hours of their life. You could be stumbling upon pervs every 2 hours of your life. That still doesn't mean that they aren't in a minority. Again, like murderers in Trinidad are in a minority, but there's a double murder nearly every day. These fellas seem like they love this stuff, but they are in a minority. H. Nikki says, I want women to start to do them what they do us, to start making them feel uncomfortable. H. Nikki, that won't work because men and women aren't the same. You can't return the favor to men.
The important part that you highlighted there, Nathan, the fact that yes, we know it's not all men, but in reality, can you all genuinely tell me you all do not know a woman who has been interfered, harassed, catcalled, etc., etc.? It may not be you, it may not be your family, but because women experience this almost every day, if not every day, this is what makes it difficult for us to exist in society. It is not that we want to hate all men, it is not that we do hate all men, but when it is we start to walk the street from City Gate to our office in Port of Spain, we do not know which one is the pervert. We do not know which one is the person going to give us the outer timing good morning to ask you a question that is sexual in nature, or you're genuinely just saying good morning.
I agree.
We don't know.
I agree with what you're saying, right? Now, only thing I want to add to what you're saying is, right, it's an interesting topic, right? But as a grown man in Trinidad, I realize that depending on the person who is speaking to you, it comes across as either pervy or inviting, because one man would say one thing to you and it will come across as pervy, and a man who you might be attracted to or you find has good qualities will say the same thing and you wouldn't deem it as pervert. So all that you have to watch out too, because people see all these things as well. Don't think like one person just not seeing that and it's not happening. Like, it's all on perspective sometimes.
I fully understand what you're saying there, and it's obviously true. I think everyone knows that is true. But on the man's side, what you gonna do about that? That's the nature of life. Like, the giraffe is tall, his neck is long, he could eat leaves high up. If you're a goat and you can't eat leaves high up, you can't look at the giraffe and say, well, look at the giraffe eating leaves high up there, I can't eat it. I mean, that's just life. There are some men who women might be attracted to, and they welcome and invite the interaction, while you mightn't be that person. Like, even if, like, I mean, what's the option to that? That there's a law that women cannot be selective about who they talk to, that the woman must show the same attention to everyone. I mean, no one would say that. The women must be able to select who they want to give attention to. Fari says, I think because men don't experience it as much as us, they won't be able to relate how scary it is too. I agree, Fari. That's and I regularly speak about this, Ria. Just now, you're coming right there. I regularly speak about this in terms of both, not just men to women, but women to men. In terms of not living each other's life, it could be very difficult to put yourself, as it were, in the other shoe. So for men, as you say, how scary it is for men, like. Somebody catcalling you. That's why I was telling what's her name, HB Nikki, that it wouldn't be the same if women do that. Like, if a woman catcalls me, even if the woman is a hideous woman that I don't like, I don't ever want to like, if she catcalls me, I'll laugh and roll my eyes. Like, the possibility of her running up to me and grabbing my hand and pulling me to the side of the road is pretty much zero. But as a woman, you would know that the possibility of that might not be zero. And for men, we could take out the scare aspect in that. You're just conscious of the annoying aspect. You could think, so wait, you getting annoyed and getting on. So no, it's not that they're just annoyed. There is a fair aspect to it.
Yeah,
I think
my friend Nathan, right? Let me explain something, right? I have 8 sisters, right?
Wow.
I don't catcalling, right? I am the youngest of 8 siblings, 9 siblings, right? I have 8 older sisters, right? I respect women. Now, this is my point.
You didn't have a choice.
I don't have a choice. Now, here's, right? And since the dawn of time, right? Women are the weaker species when it comes to men and women, right?
Physically, yes.
Women will always physically, right? Physically. So women were always forced to have to find a way to survive, right? Not only mentally, but also for the sake of the species, they had to find a way to survive and not being taken advantage of. So the natural selection to survive would always look for a strong male to survive, for your genetics to be passed on to a strong male. Now, with the world changing, this is a way that men use to show dominance, all right? Now, it's pretty horrible that you can't walk the road without feeling harassed. But at some point in time, that's a way men develop over the years to show little dominance. And I'm telling you, men if a man catcall you, right? Most of the time, a man catcall you and you respond to it. Most of the time, a man wouldn't really be interested in them, because in a man's head, anybody could catcall you and you would respond. And that's my point of view, and a lot of gentlemen that I know, that's how they think as well too.
To be honest,
so hear me out, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I don't think men really understand when it is women say they've been harassed or they are constantly harassed. I think men just think that, oh, we just walk the street and when somebody tell us good morning, we don't say good morning back. Like, I think they think that is what we call harassment. But it is so much more than that. And it is because of that why we would not even feel into just the initial interaction with somebody. Yes, you might say, oh, this person have no manners. But sometimes your life saves simply because you keep your head down and you keep pushing. You have your headphones in your ears, you ain't talking to nobody, you ain't saying a word. You just beeline from where you come off from the taxi straight to your office. No small talk, no long talk, no talk period.
I think you take them for granted, right? What about the ugly women who don't get catcall and thing? Imagine how they would just feel walking and nobody distract them.
You see, again, so all of that is just telling me that you literally do not know how to speak to women. You mean to tell me that you...
The man of 8 sisters, what you saying here, yeah?
No, but it's confusing to me that he would mention that a woman's attractiveness is a reason to say good morning or not. Because if that is the case, then the same thing you're talking about, you mean to tell me because this person ugly, they're going to appreciate being catcalled?
Actually, just now, there were some studies done on catcalling, and some of the results may be very interesting when it comes to who misses it and who might miss it, etc. when it's not done. It is missed by some women. That's true. Now, to me personally, this is my opinion. I have no idea why any man catcalls any woman, because I have never heard of a relationship starting up by, and you know, we start up from like, I don't know, like I don't like, as Mark Small, you say you know some men like that. Please explain, like, what's the purpose? You're saying it was something to show dominance, but I don't understand how calling a woman and she's ignoring you shows dominance. To me, that's not dominance. To me, let me tell you what catcalling. Let me tell just now. I know I ask you a question, but I'll answer right after I see what it seems like to me. To me, it seems like a technique for men who are low value men, and you know the online rule and the high value men. To me, it seems like a low value man technique to try to still get female attention when they cannot get it the normal way. That's what catcalling seems like to me. Because if you look at the kind of characters that generally do catcalling, they seem more down that line. Let me hear what you're saying there.
Right. Okay. So, all right. I've seen it myself. One or two friends of mine has done it. They catcall and it resulted in, relations, not a long-lasting relationship, right? But it did happen already. I've seen it. They catcall a young lady, get her attention, said something funny, and it sparked a conversation, and one thing led to another. I've seen it more than once.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess
So my question
there are different techniques.
My question is so because it worked on one person, it gives you the go ahead to try it with everybody.
And I
because you can't read a room.
It is low level way of getting attention from women.
Because it worked for you that one time. Every morning now, you're going to stand up by the promenade or by the square, and you just go in and...
Ria, here's a question though. Ria, what do you think should be done about catcalling? Do you think catcalling should be illegal? No. Not.
I don't think it should be illegal.
I'm talking, obviously, culturally, yes.
Morals and values, principles, integrity even. I think, oh gosh, to me, the same way you said it, I don't know that anybody has been in a relationship or anybody has to know somebody by catcalling anybody. So you mean to tell me you have no manners, you have no game, you have no idea how to interact socially because you just probably sheltered. I don't know what is the reason that you don't know how to approach somebody, but even in a bar, even on the road, whatever, getting somebody's attention like that, you think is like your best foot forward?
A question I have for you, Ria. A question I have for you and the ladies in the chat. And Judy Judd, you'd go next. But a question that you all could think on and answer. What would be the best way for a man to approach you all? Not a man who you find typically attractive. Let's say a man who you do not generally find typically attractive. What do you think would be the best way for him to approach you all?
I already have the answer to this.
Okay.
The answer would be to approach me respectfully with his clear intention so that I may be able to navigate. So if it is, he says, "Hi, good morning. I just saw you walking and I really find you have a nice smile, or I like your outfit today, I like your hair, ting, whatever. Just find you attractive, whatever the case is, blah, 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 blah." I might probably just respond saying, "Oh, well, thank you so very much, ting, whatever." If it is, he would like to continue and say, "Well, I was wondering if I can get your number. Would you like to get a cup of coffee, or, can I walk you at least to the corner and just chat with you a bit or whatever?" Then I can respond whether yes or no. It could be, you have to be very respectful with your approach and lay your intentions very clear.
If he does that every single day, if you said no and he did it again the next day, and again the next day, and again the next day, every day, very respectful, but every day he's like, "Good morning, miss. Good morning, ma'am. You look beautiful this morning, ma'am. Morning, miss. You're looking gorgeous this morning as usual.
Snakes, boy.
And I would just say thank you very much. Have a great day. And every day you compliment me, thank you. Have a great day. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
And you don't think that that method wouldn't be offensive?
Once he's respectful, no. Once it is, when it is I walk off or he does say something under his breath or something sexual or something very out of timing, no. That's what I say to me, respect is the order of the day. You telling me good morning, have a great day. Hey, I like it here today. Oh, I see you passing yesterday and you look a little down. I'm glad to see you looking in better spirits this morning. All of that is fine because we are human beings. We interact. We are human.
Let me get this. Let me just now, Chinese. Let me say it one time. I agree with you. Something that I have had a problem with. I always said this. I told a lot of young people that I spoke to this many young men. I think lots of young men don't understand how to speak to young women because many of them were taught somehow, like somewhere along the line, they were taught that the only way you speak to the opposite sex is flirtatiously. I look at some of these young fellas and they have no idea that you could talk to a young woman like another human being. You all could talk about the sun and the fishes in the sea and the dirt and the grass. It's just another human being. You could talk to them. So I agree with you. That is a problem that I find, especially, I find personally it's kind of getting worse coming on. Maybe the catcalling has decreased, but the ability that some young men have to relate to young women, that's decreasing for sure. Let me hear you, Chinese.
Yeah, I have a better approach than you because I don't think girls know how to approach girls themselves. So instead of all that, we'll talk about how you going to here's the simplest thing anybody could do. Might work, might not work. Go up and say, good day, miss. You interested in an opportunity or you ever heard about Organo Gold or Herbalife? I mean, you join this and you can make it. That's it. You either get a yes or no. That is it.
You're going to get the swiftest no. You're going to get the no in the swiftest. Like, to me.
Just tell them I have an opportunity for you.
To me.
And if they say yes, you don't sell no flicking Herbalife or Organo Gold. What you going to do after that?
I'm calling to paying for your subscription from here, so you can't know. You
know a weird pickup line that I tried that actually worked that time?
Let me hear it.
I saw a young lady. I walked up. I was like, "Excuse, you look so familiar." She's like, "I don't think I know you." I was like, "You didn't rob me by the savannah already?" Gunpoint. And she just died laughing. I swear to you, she just died laughing.
You going after them the ladies who live in the hotspot areas. That's your taste.
No.
I mean, I don't judge. Everybody needs to find a partner.
A man proposing here and kneeling, he ducking.
I mean,
it was a great laugh.
Yeah, Judd, you wanted to say something, sir?
Yeah, good night. So
good night.
I've been watching the live for about 10 minutes now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I was listening to the lady there, Rhea, and I don't know if you would have raised these points. So I kind of write down 4 very brief points.
I like it.
To bring to all your attention, very briefly. So harassment is when, in this instance, we're using a male and a female person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Harassment would be when a male person does something that is not too receptive by the female, even in the first instance. But crazy enough, how will you know if the female is not receptive to it if you don't try it in the first place? Because, for example, I have seen with my own eyes the two ends of the spectrum. I went to the gym recently this girl made this video. She's saying that we need a
right, yeah. That's what started the conversation.
I went to the gym and I saw a man who is a qualified doctor. He's a dentist and a lawyer. He saw somebody who I assume he knew in the gym, and he was like, "Psst, oh baby." And she turned around and was all too happy to be catcalled and greeted by this man.
Are you friends?
Who's not she husband, and whatever the case is. So,
Well, maybe her outside man.
I guess the wealthier you are and the higher up in status you are as a man, catcalling becomes a little more acceptable.
I'm not sure, bro.
In addition,
I'm not sure. Maybe that was your friend.
Did you just say that she knows him?
I want to believe she is familiar with him. I don't know their relationship. Right?
Familiarity is a difference though, because my male friends, familiarity could call me and hail me, and the response, they could say, "Hey, a big stinking liar," in the middle of the road, and I'll be like, "Yeah, dog," because that's my friend.
That's exaggeration. You aren't allowing nobody to call you a big thinking liar in the road like that.
Nah.
Yes.
But Juddy Judd, Trini's, listen, I see some girls greet each other, calling each other some hey old dirty.
Yeah.
So I don't doubt it.
Yes, because it is a difference with familiarity versus a difference with.
So that may be a difference. Let me hear the rest of your points you wrote down.
We're speaking about respect here, where men having respect for women. And are you saying to me that respect is conditional? That is to say, if you're not familiar with somebody, it's okay, or when, and it is exactly what I'm saying here. It is not okay for somebody who you're not familiar with to catcall you. That is disrespect. But somebody who you're familiar with, it's okay for them to catcall you in public. That is not disrespect. How could that make sense to any reasonable thinking person? It tells me, how am I to treat you in general?
Grain of a fish.
No, don't. Hey. Hello. We don't go down that road and insult here. We don't insult here. The thing is, though, I just now, I'm going to answer. The thing is, though, I'll put that in the similar realm of some of the people who ask why white people can't call black people. I don't know what TikTok policy is on it. I mean, there is a difference between familiarity. There are some friends, your brethren. Some brethren play gay games. Some brethren come and grab each other and pretend like, mama. But if a man who doesn't know you come and play that game with you, it's not a game anymore. Like, that, I don't think that's a strange thing. I could suit my cousin. I have female cousins that I could see walking the road and I might suit them, and it's nothing strange about that at all, because it's a different level of relationship. I don't think that's hypocritical. I think that's just a different level of relationship. And as I was saying before, when someone was mentioning that according to the attractiveness of the man, the woman might react different, I think as a man, you cannot, it's not within our prerogative to patrol how a woman chooses to have a relationship. Women are allowed to treat different men differently, just as you are allowed to treat different women differently. That's the reality.
Exactly.
Like, you don't have to be angry. You don't have to be angry with a woman for not wanting to give you attention. That's her prerogative. Like, if you think about it as you being in that position, that's just and if you want to take that reality and then say for men that relationship and living that relationship life into the older age might be harder, then you may be stumbling upon certain realities of the intergender relationships. That's why ever has it been that not the majority, but a large portion of men never reproduced. The people who die single and alone in time in history have historically been men. That's just reality for some men. That's reality. What are you going to do to conquer that reality? Like, anything else other than allowing women to choose who they want to be with gets into a scary realm.
Well, let us talk about another version of reality here.
Hold on.
I came on this live.
Just now, yeah, let me finish.
I came on this live and I was very very respectful to everybody on the live. But in the typical female fashion, Rhea became very emotional and disrespected me on the live, called me or say my brain is functioning like a fish, which she saw nothing with. And if it is okay for her to do that, then I'm saying no. Well, go outside there and let men suit you, and don't say nothing about it, because it's okay for them. If you could disrespect me in front of let me say millions of people who probably watching this live, don't complain when men
wish.
shit, because I sure in one day you just pass more than 100 men, and let me say less than 10% of them men might have something to say to you, and I sure 5% of whatever is said to you is not disrespectful, like you're behind looking nice in that jeans and what. So what you complaining about? You doing the same thing. You sort of like so.
You thought you ate?
Hey, listen. Pause. Both of you all need to pause right about now, because that's not what we do here. We have respectful conversations here. Now, for one, I wish it was millions of people looking at this. I really do wish it would have been really nice. It would have been really nice. But there aren't millions of people. I wish. And then, secondly, I agree what Rhea said was disrespectful. That's why I corrected it right there. But also on that, even if she was disrespectful, that doesn't automatically mean that being disrespectful towards women in general is somehow justified because women are disrespectful sometimes. So, no, I don't think so. Yeah.
I have a question for Rhea on the topic. Right? So, Rhea, question, right? So, the disrespectful comments with the catcalls, of course, is something that women don't like, and of course, it gives you a sense of, harassment while walking and feeling uncomfortable, right? But what about
my question is, they're respectful catcalls?
Wait, let me finish. I understand, right? Let me finish. So, okay, so there are disrespectful ones that are very rude and lewd. Agreed, right? But what about the ones, hi, good day, beautiful, you have a lovely day, hey, beautiful, you look good today, I love the outfit. What about...
I don't think that's catcalling. Catcalling is suiting. Not so?
Nathan, before you continue, this is a point that I wanted to make from before.
Okay.
As I said from before, I don't think people understand what women, when we say we've been harassed, I don't think they understand what is harassment for women. They think it's a man telling them good morning. They think that is harassment. Because they say that they tell a woman good morning and a woman never answer them back, so that's what they deem as harassment. But I just like to point out that it doesn't matter, Nathan, how articulate I am. If I'm intellectual, disrespectful, it doesn't matter what I say or how I bring it across. The mere fact that it is a female, period, bringing this point across, it's never going to be received by persons. Do you realize that some of the points that you would have mentioned is probably similar or on par with the exact same thing, topic, in agreement, but it will not be received by other persons simply because it will be received from you, from other persons, simply because you're a man. So that's why I say I understand that, yes, my comment was out of hand. I stand by it, but yes, it was out of hand. But no matter what I say, how well I bring it across, whether I'm respectful or disrespectful, it would have never been understood by those who simply do not wish to understand it because it is coming from a female.
I don't know if Rhea seems to understand that.
Pause. Stop right there. Stop. Our topic. Sorry, Juddy Judd. I allowed Rhea to finish because she was just trying to address that thing. Our topic isn't a back and forth between you and her. So I mean.
No. Okay. So I'm simply saying, when two people having a conversation.
Okay. Right.
In this instance, it was Rhea and I. But let's broaden it to two people. I don't have to agree with Rhea, but I could understand what she's saying. And I didn't get to finish I'm not upset about it or anything, but I didn't get to finish my four.
No, finish it, please. I wanted to hear all.
I understand exactly what Rhea is saying because I have a sister too who says similar things. So it is not that I don't understand what she is saying, but I disagree with some of her positions, and I don't see anything wrong with that. So to get on this emotional high horse is what was confusing me. I thought was very
understood. I understand why that would be offensive. I understand how it was in that way, and I do not doubt that. Now, I am seeing many women in the live saying that they don't mind a respectful compliments, and I do not doubt that. I do think that some men are disrespectful, and I saw someone saying that, I think it was Fari said earlier on, that some men cannot handle rejection, and I agree, that is true. She said men in general, but I don't think it's men in general. I think it's the same thing like the numbers problem, where it's not a majority, but all you need is a few enough men who don't know how to handle hearing no, and then it becomes a problem. Now, some women seem not to understand. They say men have a problem with rejection, and it's not that men have a problem with rejection in and of itself, but it's that the relationship structure. All right, good. Thanks for correcting that, Fari. The relationship structure societally is as such that it is set up that men are always going to be the rejected ones. It isn't set up for women to be the rejected ones. I could tell you women don't like rejection. If women get rejection, they often try to burn your entire life down to the ground. Women don't like it at all. But it's just usually the way how relationships are set up in our culture, in our societies, in human societies, not just ours, all human societies, is that men are the ones that are asking, so they are the ones who can get rejected. So when you say that men can't take rejection, yes, that may be partially true. Well, some men can't take rejection, a lot of men, yes, that is true, but also bear in mind it's just a setup on the male side too. And just as women were talking about how sometimes, many times, men don't understand it from the female perspective, some women wouldn't understand that from some male perspective. There are some men out there who have gotten rejected all their lives. All they know is rejection, and there are some psychological reasonings behind that. Like you could pretend like that has no effect on anyone all you want, but the reality is it does. And there are some men like that you're dealing with out there. Like I often say, if you bounce up on the 35-year-old man who has never had a relationship, maybe, baby girl, you should run from homeboy, because he has some decades of rejection waiting to let out there. Yeah, go ahead, Ria, with your hand up like in school. Wait, Chiny, go first. Wait, Ria, Chiny, go.
Right. I want to go back to the original point of what the whole video was about the whole gym thing. And even this live showing the same issue too. With the gym issue, they have a lack of communication. You're seeing both sides just spouting their opinions and not much discourses. Who arguing who? Now, I understand both sides. I could understand when you men and them saying that men can't handle rejection, or they have a culture now where everybody kind of expect the most out of whatever it is for little effort on it. And then I understand with men when they're saying the same accusation, like a general statement, a blanket statement, that a lot of creeps or a lot of pervs or catcalling, whatever the case is. But I think at the end of the day, we still have to try to find some kind of common ground to figure shit out. Because with the gym, if you have an issue with men making you uncomfortable, don't just separate and start to shout and argue women this, man that. Find a simple common ground and say, listen, this is the problem. Let me deal with that. Same thing like how you're talking about the catcalling and whatever. Rhea, calm down, like, you're in gym. Okay, cool, you're showing strong arm, right? Easy up. Yeah. And the same thing like in this conversation, instead of arguing and like how it's the kind of disrespectful moments, I think we don't need all that kind of thing. Like keep it civil and just discuss things and find a solution. But I think everybody more want to hear their opinion and voice louder than everybody else and have nothing coming out of it. I think that's the issue nowadays with people.
Yeah, I'll keep it short and then it could go, right? So here, right? We have two things, right? One, this one's for Jude. Jude, I don't think you should call Rhea or any woman emotional, especially when they're talking about things they're passionate about. Use that word instead, because...
Let me pause. Wait, hold on. I have to interrupt you. With that one statement, do you think that is emotionally driven? You think that like that is how a woman reacts when it is she's emotional? That to you all is what emotional is?
No. That's why I'm trying to separate.
I was just wondering because that's what I was labeled.
Don't say emotional don't mix up a woman or anybody being emotional when they're passionate about something. People can be passionate about something because they truly believe in it, and emotion doesn't have a lot to play in it. You're passionate in your beliefs, right? And then secondly, right, Rhea? So we're talking about the video and the catcalling and the uncomfortable feelings women get. What do you think is a possible solution to move forward to that everybody could work together to move past this? Because we could speak about a problem whole day, whole night, but if nobody comes forth with a possible solution, we all you just talking, right?
Right. Well, in the video, well, I mean, of course, the number one thing is to be respectful. I mean, I think once it is, we've had social training that we know what is respect and what is disrespect. But even in the video, this is one of the things that it doesn't matter what solution comes forward, people are going to have problems with it regardless, because the girl simply said, she said nothing about men. She simply said, we need a girls only gym in Trinidad, and men have a problem with it. But here's my thing. Judd was saying, Judd, whatever his name is, he was saying that somebody hailed the person, and because he was attractive, he got a different response. My thing is, if it is, there's a female-only gym, and all the females going to the female-only gym, that means the man had nobody to hail, so he have no reason to get vexed. So, the female-only gym is a solution, not so? Based on the particular scenarios that we have in front of us.
Equality? Won't we be going back on equality if we decide to segregate women only and men only gyms?
No, when it is we say women only gym, we're not saying that every gym in Trinidad has to be separated with women or by women or men, We're just saying that there is just one particular gym, or there's one particular company, if they have several outlets or whatever, and they decide they want to target women only. It's like any product that you have targets certain people, demographics.
But here's the thing.
Like
Mark has
they are like women only. Like even in the US now, that they have only women nights, so that women could come to club without males around, and there's nothing to do with the fact that we don't like men. It is to do with the market that is available and where you could make the money.
Yeah.
Men go to women only nights.
Men go to gym more than women. So for a business model, it wouldn't make much sense financially to have a female.
You are doubt. I don't agree there, Max Smalls, because I think of late, women going to the gym has been a growing thing in popularity. And if you're looking at this as a businessman, who goes to the gym more? Okay, single working women. And which is the biggest growing demographic in the Western world? Single working women. So that is actually a very good business idea. If I had the money, I would have done that right now. That is I have no doubt that would work. I have no doubt that would work. So I don't think it's a problem on the business end. Again, as we reach back where we began, to say it again, I have no idea how a woman-only gym, men could have a problem with that in general. I started seeing how I could see how people could have a problem connecting it to other arguments that men and women have across the internet. I could understand that. But in terms of a gym only, I have no idea how that is problematic. To me, as a man, if a woman does not want you in her presence, then you don't go into her presence. Like, I find that seems like a common thing. Not a very difficult thing to not just a man and a woman, anybody who doesn't want you around them. Why would you want to force yourself to be around them? I don't get it. As a man, you can't invest in a woman-only gym. Why, Reese Hussein? Why can't I do? Like, you might be surprised. You might be surprised to know the color of the people that own the Black Entertainment Networks. You might be surprised to know the gender of the person who owns Victoria's Secrets. Directly the point I was going to raise. You might be surprised.
Elias is not a female.
Rihanna and her Fenty brand. You know that it's actually a white man is the full owner of that. She basically has like what you call KFC, what you call when KFC comes down to Trinidad. What?
Franchise.
Right, she basically has like a kind of franchise thing going on there. It's a white man owning it. You were thinking, yeah, we're spending money on black women. Well, a significant percentage goes to the white man too. So yeah, talking about me counting. If I had the money, I am telling you, I was opening Mindful and I was writing the full in italics. Mindful females. Listen, I am sure I was making. I don't have to be there. I'm just the owner. Like, y'all could come, work out, make sure you all are, there's nobody else there. We're darking it out. There's no way they could watch from outside. We have the changing rooms inside. I would want a parking where you could drive downstairs into the basement, so no man must be able to see on the compound. We're putting 12-foot tall walls, so once you enter the compound, no man could see you.
You need that for your face alone screwing and scaring off everybody. You good?
Yeah, I have a cringe question for you. A very cringe question, and I'm very interested in seeing your facial reaction when I ask the question, right?
I take off my camera one time.
Alright, so on a whole, right? Women don't like catcalling, don't like creeps, don't like, those type of guys, right? On the whole, right? But I don't know why in my observation of life, the 23 years I've been on this earth, that's the type of guys you guys really like, the creeps, the idiots, the assholes.
I didn't want to say that. I didn't want to say that, but I'm glad that fella bring it up.
Let me tell you all something, right? Let me address this topic, right? There are a lot of men who are of the idea that they are good men. And they are good men by their standards. They say they are good men because they don't smoke, or because they don't drink, because they don't party, because they don't gamble, because they go to work, because they don't cuss, because they don't beat women, etc., etc. They don't horn, they don't this, they do that. There are a lot of men who think that they are good women based on it. And there are men who do like one or two things that I would have mentioned, and they consider themselves good men as well. Yeah, I just smoke, but as a good man. Yeah, I just take a little drink as not a drunkard, but as a good man. Yeah, I have a little gambling addiction, but as a good man. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, to be honest. If it is you think that you're a good man, what matters is to the person that you're interacting with. Because what your standard is and what my standard is a very different standard. So when it is you turn and say, they just go for the creeps and they just go for the that, they just go for the next, they just go for the next. Half the time, from an initial interaction, if it is a man is an asshole, I'm not going to see it, I'm not going to know it until further down when it is he gets angry or when it is he gets a certain way. Because in the beginning of any relationship, it's always a honeymoon phase. Everybody's so in love. He picks you up to go on dates. He's very chivalrous. It's that whole romantic kind of feel going on, and it's only after you get an inkling of a flag, and then the whole red flag is shown, or whatever the case is, or whatnot. But all this is telling me is that you know or understand that men are these particular types of ways. And instead of saying, why don't women pick better, why isn't the discussion along the lines of, how can we as men be better?
Let me tell you why.
If you look at it, the majority of men who have a problem with the men women date need to understand that you and all the other men in society is majority of you all that are like this. So our pickings for that perfect guy, it's not that
no, that's not true, Ria. Ria, don't gaslight the men. That's not true. Women and HB Nikki keeps trying to say over and over in the chat that somehow men cannot know what women experience because we somehow are blind from that. You're saying that the red flags only pop up after. The reason that many men are annoyed by this particular topic is because many men have been in a situation where they knew this fella is a creep. Everybody knew this fella was a creep. But this girl got smitten after she promised, no, I don't deal with creeps, and I don't deal with creeps. And she got smitten by the creep that everyone knew as a creep. And then after a year of being a creep to her, all of a sudden she comes out and she's heartbroken by the creep. And the men are like, but you decided to go with the creep. Some of that is on you. You're saying why the men are saying why you choose the creep instead of saying why am I a creep. Well, here's the thing. Just now I'm not finished, I'm just letting up Rooney. Here's the thing. There are creeps in society, and there's nothing we could do to erase them from the society. There are always going to be creeps. So if women decide that they're going to select out the creeps, obviously that would be a problem for the men. Now on the male side, I want to address all before I let you up there. Let me finish. On the male side, I could answer why I think, who has music playing, why I think many women choose some of these scripts, because part of what women look for is competence. Some men think it's that money and high value man thing. No, it's competence. And one of the strongest indicators of competence is confidence. And it just so happens that most of the a-holes are very high in confidence. So very often women who were not raised around father figures or strong male role models where they could understand the difference between the competent confidence and the a-hole psychopath narcissist confidence, because narcissists are very confident too. They could have that distinguishing problem because they are not looking for narcissists. Really and truly, they are not looking for the a-holes. They're looking for a quality that both the a-holes and the top men have. And it just so happens, if some women don't have the proper training and upbringing, it's easy to confuse those. That's why and Ria, I know you'd like this point, that's why especially younger women can be tricked by that much easier, where the confidence of the narcissist could trick a younger woman into thinking that it's competence more easily. So that's why I'm saying on both sides. On the woman's side, don't mama guy and gaslight the men and make it seem like, no, we don't choose a-holes. Yes, you do. Yes, you do very often choose a-holes. But on the man's side, you could understand why. Go ahead, Ria.
All right. So, yes, granted. But that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying when it is I was talking about like who you pick. In the initial instance, when it is you interact with the person, more than likely that person's approach to you would have been respectful. More than likely that person's approach to you would have been something very smooth, very suave, maybe even something that actually ropes you in. It's not somebody who stand up on the corner and be like, that man still looking real nice today. It's somebody who approached you, and that's what I said, he would have shown you the good characteristics first, obviously. Right? And the same way I'm telling you this with men, is it happens on the opposite. Men fall for these women who are the best in nature. When it is you see Mark coming and work with this girl, he know she character, or he know, like, I see she the other day down in the Bocas, like, it is the same thing. What the woman will show him in the initial instance would be a very sweet, loving woman. And you eat food today, I'm packing food for you for work, so you don't have to walk with lunch or whatever the case is. And he's going to fall for these qualities that she is showing to him. The same way that these qualities that everybody else is seeing from the other man, she sees a whole different person. And this is something that these probably, if it's Disney movies or whatever love story, would have taught us, not just women, but us in general, that for the person who they genuinely love, a man or woman would change, or a man or woman would accept a place or a role or a function in that person's life. So whilst it is, my man rough around the edges, to me, he's the sweetest person. And that is not me saying that I am falling for a man who's an asshole, but that is me thinking that when it is this man considers me, when he prioritizes me, when he cares for me, when he caters to me, it is a very, for me, that feeling is a good feeling. Those things are received with
Mark, you're going next, sir, Mark.
Kindness, it's love.
You're going, Mark. Next, sir, Mark. I just wanna drop something. I just wanna drop something in there, Ria. I think it does exist on the other side where men choose bad women too. I don't doubt that at all. But I think it exists more on one side. As someone pointed out there are more women with children than there are men, because there are more men who impregnate multiple women. And that shows a certain choosing where the choosing is happening and who is choosing more of the choosing, if you understand what I'm choosing to say. So that explains some of that right there. And also in that, there's a statistic that shows if you are a felon, if you are a criminal, you have a higher likelihood of having impregnated a woman. And I don't think that's necessarily because those criminals are the smoothest men. So I don't think it's only that the men at the beginning are so smooth that they knock you off. I think what many women need to do is be honest about what attracts you. It's the confidence, as I said before, and that confidence, even in the jerk in the asshole, all of that confidence, even in those cases, could still attract you. That's why the criminals are never short of baby mothers and girlfriends. Criminals and bad boys are never single. Have you ever seen a single bad boy? Those guys aren't the single ones.
No, wait. But wait, hold on, Nathan. I think it's about the approach, and this is why I say this, right? The same bad boy, right? If it is he have 2 baby mamas before, right? Let's just say he's approaching me. Well, not flicking me, but let me just use me as an example, right? If he's approaching me, he not going and tell me, yeah, I had 2 children, and yeah, them mother that's it. He's not going to say that. He's going to sell me the dream. He's going to tell me, yeah, I was with Keisha before, and things end up not working out, and she end up finding somebody else. She's going to feed me the narrative.
I love the statement you said there. He's going to sell you the dream.
Right.
That is literally pause. I just want to jump in right on that. Ria. That's it right there. Because what dream he's going to sell you is, yeah, I'm a bad boy, yeah, I have 2 other child mothers, but you know, I really right now I just need a proper woman to hold me down now, boy. The thing is, since my father and them die and thing and leave me in the struggle, you know, I never had nobody to really be on my side now, girl. Them 2 who go on before, them and all betray me, them set me up to the ups and thing now, girl. But I see how you is check for me now, and how you is check for me is just be so different now, girl. And the reality here is that is not smoothness. The reality is it's the roughness that attracts you, but the idea that the roughness could somehow maybe smooth down for you, and that is what catches you. It is.
With you somewhere, boy.
What's that?
Yeah.
I had a one there somewhere. You know? Exactly. They train you on there. That is what I waiting to get opportunity to say.
Yeah, I hear what you say right here, and I can respect your point, but let me put it on a different spectrum, parent. Because I talking about real life situation here with me. Now, before I start again, knock on the comments, this was before I matured into the young man that I am, and this is my past. I'm just going to explain 2 similar situations, and you tell me what you think about it, right? Because it, Mark, right? So, Ria, at a point in my life, right, I'm not ashamed to say, I had 2 young ladies, right? And the 2 young ladies was the complete opposite of each spectrum that you were describing, right? One had a boyfriend, right? So, I'm a fact, both of them had boyfriends, right? Both of them had boyfriends. I was the one I wanted both of them, right? The one who had the boyfriend, right? One of them had a boyfriend. Her boyfriend used to ill-treat her, beat her, accuse her. They treat her like garbage, right? This girl used to run away, tell him because he dropping she to work. She dropping she to work, and she calling me and say, pick me up outside work, and she going, come and buy me like if she pretend like she going to work.
Government work now.
I had to drop back in work, right?
Government work now.
I had to drop she back in work, pick them up.
Public servant, for sure they are public servant. For sure. Surety they are public servant.
Well, her point of view was, if I get accused of it and treated like that, I might as well. If I already getting the bad treatment. So me then, I didn't judge, right? So, with this young lady, right, I used to treat her so nice, watch me, like a queen, right? Because I hear this man distressing this woman, how she treating her, and I don't want to treat her like that, so I treating her nice and what must be like being around me, but she ain't leaving that bad. That man who beaten she and treating she bad for nothing. She would run away and come, but because she saying she loved the treatment, she loved the freedom, she loved how I treat her, she loved how I respect her, but she ain't leaving that man who beaten she for nothing. Now, on the next hand, right? On the next hand, I have another young lady. This man, who she had, I'll give her a man, this man treating this woman like a queen. And doing everything for her. She have a child where it's not even his own, and he minding her and the child, right? Treating her, crying her out, giving her money, everything. And her response for wanting to horny man is, he too nice, he too soft. And me now, I being real with you, I ain't gonna lie, I had issues back then. With things like that used to piss me off. I used to take my horn, I used to be the one man, but it used to piss me off because in my head, nothing you describe is worth horning the man for. So me now saying, if that's how you treat any man, I ain't not even treating you close to that. I been an asshole thing. I approach her nice. I treating she bad. I put her on the and she called nothing like that. Real bad.
He's act out here, man.
Me and and want to leave the man for me. I treat her so bad, telling she had the next woman, real bad I treating this woman. Because to me, it don't make no sense why honing a man treating like a queen. My name, that I was even his own. But the one who I treating good, who want to leave the man who treating her bad. And the one who I treating bad, want to leave the man who treating her good. Explain that scenario. And I didn't lie, I didn't make her nothing, I didn't approach anything.
Right.
I approach you like, hey, you looking real good, girl. But if I hold on to you, the things I'll do to you. And watch me from that woman will gravitate towards me.
No,
so,
here's the thing. I don't know, Mark, if
Rhea,
it is your
I just want to ask a question
character
before you
defend-
can there.
Rhea, let him ask the question so you can answer all.
No, I just want to say, after Rhea respond, could I just make a contribution and I will come off after?
Okay, no problem. Go
After
ahead.
Rhea respond?
Yeah.
I would like
Yeah.
to a contribution.
Okay.
I will come down to. I don't know if you all think that my thing in life is to defend women to the end. That is definitely not what I do. Definitely not. And it is not a man-woman issue. Yeah, no. I just saying. And it is not a man-woman issue. I do not stand for one at all. Period. So it doesn't matter what your reason or your justification is for doing it. I would never stand by somebody who is unfaithful, even in a relationship. I don't consider marriage alone to be what it is you have to be committed to. Once it is in a relationship, for me, thing. But Mark, you basically telling us that he was a horner man to two women at the same time. So, in addition to these women stepping out of their relationship, you were willing to be the one that they step out with.
well, as I said before, no judgment. Before I was in a place in my life where I was okay with those things.
Right? No. I just making sure so that you could see that even though we're having the discussion about what is morally right or wrong.
No, I don't think he's asking, the question he's asking, Rhea, isn't what's morally right or wrong in it. He's asking to explain from a woman's point of view, what is the thinking that would allow women to act. It could seem in his mind, he's seeing like one woman would cheat on her man because he's too nice and the woman would cheat on a man because he's too bad. So he's trying to figure out from a woman's perspective, why would those two things happen? He's not saying the moral perspective on it.
But I was going to say, it doesn't matter how you want to flip the script. What was done is wrong. But this is to prove that people are individuals at the end of the day. What is for you and what is for somebody else is something very different. So why is it that somebody was saying this person is too nice, somebody else was also saying that this person is too boring? Because you as a man have just admitted that you were very wrong with one person and then you were also very nice to another person, which means that you, based on who you were with, it was subjective, which is the point I was making from even before, that a man will be a certain way for the woman he wants to be that certain way for. So I understand the question, like why would a woman fall for this, or why would they be with this, or what would cause them to think they were. I don't know. I am not a horny woman. I've never horned before in my life, except in the car because drivers in Trinidad terrible.
The question is to back up. How come women more gravitate or more wants to be around the guys who treat them poorly?
But you can't say that because you just said somebody did not want to be around that guy and wanted
But
to be around.
he was saying that she didn't want to leave the guy. She didn't want to leave the guy.
To leave the guy who was treating her bad, and the one who I was treating bad wanted to leave the nice guy to come to me. So the
Right,
common
but
thing is
then you're
the guy who
saying,
treated them bad.
no, then you're saying that they both wanted the good and the bad, because the person who had the nice guy wanted somebody who was bad as well. The person who had the bad guy wanted somebody who was good as well. So they wanted that mixture of both good and bad. As I said, I cannot tell you why it is.
Yeah, Rhea, you answered the question. Rhea, you answered the question perfectly there, Rhea. That's the answer. That is the answer. They want somebody who's good and bad. Somebody said it earlier up. It's the Beauty and Beast story. And I mean, every single romance story tells this. I don't know why people are still surprised by this. That what many women want. They want the man who's a monster, but she can tame him. So they want both the good and bad. They want the beast, but he must be able to turn into the charming prince at the same time. So that's not a surprise. Juddy Judd, let me hear you, boy.
Yeah, but how you know a fairy tale from a gangster? That making sense? You want a fairy tale from a gangster?
It doesn't have to.
So these two men in question were gangsters. I don't know. You said one was
The heart.
was he a gangster? Or you was the gangster?
The
because
heart.
you treated her bad.
The heart wants what the heart wants. Here's the same thing on that Max Small. It's like the man side, they talk about you can't turn her in the house, right? But there are many men who attempt to do that. So I think the heart wants what the heart wants. Let me hear you, Juddy Judd. Or you want a fairy tale from a gangster, I like that one. I'll post a status with that one.
That was a real good point there. I just want to reverse a little bit to the solution question that was raised there. I want to make sure, were we asking Rhea her solution, or we was asking for a solution in general?
Conversation just evolved and evolved. That's all.
I don't know.
Well, I wanted to say on the topic of solution, I think we will never be able to broad brush solution and come to a particular consensus, because even on the topic of that video, the gym video, there were women who responded saying that they want men in the gym. And they like when men, I saw many videos, they like when these men, tell them they look good or catcall or harass them, if you want to put it that way. So each person, I would think Rhea might have her own solution, which might be to go to the women's only gym. Somebody else might buy equipment and bring it home and tell a personal instructor to come home and teach them and things. But the one thing you wouldn't be able to avoid would be the public, the access to you in the public. When you're walking down the street, the men with less training and upbringing and so on, they might tend to want to suit and call you names and talk about your body and whatever the case is, but they are in the vast minority. So a solution would depend on the individual themselves, and this is where I tend to agree with the girl and the all-female gym. That is her solution, and although I might not agree with what she's saying, I understand why she might want to suggest that. You understand where I'm coming from with it?
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah, so that's my contribution. I want to come down. I have two things to do, but I'll be in the comments and I'll be commenting.
Thank you very.
Before I leave, I want to say it was very nice meeting you.
Thank you.
I hope one day if we're ever able to meet in person, we could, have a very nice social conversation about something that's going on.
I always talk to people. I don't ever not talk to people.
I'm making sure I end on very good terms with you here, because I like the way you think.
I was never on
and I would like to hear more ideas from you.
But where Roni gone? Roni, is your turn now. I invited Roni and I don't even know where Roni gone. Roni, it was supposed to be your turn.
The previous point that
and Roni just disappeared on me.
I did not say that we should separate persons in gyms. I did say even the solution of having that, where if it is you would like to go to that exists, is still a problem for people who will not get access to it, which kind of proves there is no one solution that will work. It's just to implement what you have to implement, and who wants to move whichever way they want to move will move that way.
Yeah.
I saw that video, Trini Boy, and I think that is what some people don't understand. It's kind of what is the outcome of this whole male-female internet war that so many people seem to be invested in, where the fact of the matter is we need each other. So many people... HB Nikki, sometimes in the chat, you seem like you want to go down that road, like you're trying to make it seem like women have it harder and men are the more evil ones, and some men try to make it seem like men have it harder and women are the more evil ones. That's a silly and dangerous game to play that isn't going to end in any of us benefiting. I saw the video where the woman was attempting to do some kind of squat or something like that, and the weight got the better of her and she's kind of trapped there, and the men are just ignoring her because they don't want to be called creeps for even looking in her direction. She had to literally call them and ask for help. Again with me.
I think one of the things, Nathan, is that when it is on both sides, when it is somebody says, hey, I have this problem, as opposed to saying, hey, okay, we hear you and we understand that you have this problem. Instead, they try to either belittle it or make it look like the problem does not exist. And that in itself is the problem. So it's not so much, so it moves from being a conversation where it is, okay, this is an issue for some people, how can we fix this issue? It moves from that to being, this is an issue that does not exist, you are making up things in your head, nobody's watching you, etc., etc. When in truth and in fact, there is a problem that exists, not for everybody, not with everybody, but it is a problem that exists. As opposed to fighting the system in general, just focus on the issue. All right, I hear you with this. Is it that a lot of other people think this way? Is it that a lot of other people would like this particular solution as well? Okay, this is something that we can look into. And on the flip side for men, when it is they say certain things and women attack them, it's not to be attacked for, it's to say, okay, this is a problem that you all are experiencing. Do we understand the problem that you all are experiencing? It's not about who problem is more and anything whatever. Because at the end of the day, you know what? All of this is because of the capitalist system that we live in, right? And all this happened because colonizers. So let us just remember that
Capitalism has brought more people out of poverty than any other system in the world. Capitalism is needed. Capitalism is how we live. Capitalism is the essential force that is bringing us freedom. The other option is under slavery in the idea of those leftist socialists. Don't let me go down that left and right road because we got real battle there.
No, Nathan, and I find it so strange that you should be one to support the same capitalist system when you yourself have mindful education and you trying to get away from the Babylonian system.
You see, what you all don't understand, listen, I just stand up and put back my chair. What you all don't understand is the capitalist system. What it means is it's a free market. The idea of the free market is simple. Everyone has property rights. That's the basis of it. Property rights means when I own something, it is mine and no one else could take it from me. Property rights. And the free market means I can do with what is mine as I see fit. We could make free trades among each other. So I could freely trade what is mine to you, which is what is yours. And that is the basis of the gaining of wealth all around the world. That is how poor people get wealthy, when they have the power to do with their resources as they see fit. The problem is these leftists, these collectivists who think that they could control the whole system. They have the skill. They know how much money you need to get and how much you need to produce. That's the problem. Those socialists and communists killed hundreds of millions of people in the 20th century trying that nonsense. It doesn't work, and it's theft, because the idea is that I should be able to earn what I work for. If I work hard, I earn more. If you don't work, you don't earn. That's the nature of life. It shouldn't be that I work and you don't work, but the government comes in and makes sure we all get enough. That's nonsense. Throw that away.
Yeah, one of your points was that.
I never said go to communist or anything.
Wait, before I forget, right? One of your points was that people shouldn't just try to fight it down, or they just should understand their point, right? But one of the key fundamental things about equality is that not everybody has the right to agree or disagree. So if females on the whole have an issue, right? It's not that men gonna bang on females, but people are allowed to have their own opinion or are allowed to say something about it, and that is part of being equal. Correct or wrong?
Okay, but when did we start talking about equality, though?
No,
ask away, Chinese.
Right, you were saying that the main thing is that one of the main things that your concerns were that we had an issue with the female feeling harassed in the gym or whatnot, but instead of trying to fix the problem, everybody just jump on it. But what I'm saying is everybody has a right to their own opinion. So it's not that because our problem arises from one faction, which is females, that everybody should just jump and agree to it. Everybody has to have their own opinion. Not saying that it's right, but everybody is allowed to have their own opinion and to speak up about it, and that's part of having equal rights.
I'm going to answer that for real. Hopefully I do it justice. If I understood the point she was making correctly, I kind of agree with that point. Because if I understood it correctly, what she was saying is that when an issue is brought up, we need to be able to deal with the issue in its individual nature and be able to try and work out that issue instead of taking that one issue and dragging it out to the general argument that we always have. Was that what you were talking about, Rhea? Where are you going?
Yes, because I was saying that instead of focusing on the... Yeah.
You're right.
Yes, because I was saying that when it is, instead of focusing on the issue, because they are not the ones who are perpetrators of it, they try to make it seem like the problem itself does not exist, or that it is smaller than women are making it out to be. But I also did say, I never said, Mark, that you just take one person's issue and then make a whole thing on it. I did say to find out if this is something that a lot of people also have a problem with, and if you have a possible solution to the problem that a lot of people face. And if you want to talk about free market, that is how the free market works. You find your target market that wants this particular product or service, and you literally create it for them, and they pay you money.
Yeah.
So,
Valstar, here's the thing with that. Invalidating a woman's experience is not an opinion. That actually is an opinion. And it is possible for people to have invalid experiences. That, like people that talk about my lived experience and that kind of thing, that's a counter to any reasonable dictate. That's not true. And you see the argument, like somebody said earlier, about the whole getting emotional and that kind of stuff. I think the idea that your lived experience is the highest standard is an emotional argument. Not saying that emotions are bad or anything like that, but you must understand it's not a logical argument, it's an emotional argument. You're saying that how you experience things is the only valid way, when each of the 8 billion plus people in the world experience things in a unique way. We cannot use each person's unique experience of a situation to rate the validity of that situation. We have to look at the wider expanse of it. Valsa says, I would say it's more of a belief, but I see a point. Yeah, because I have a problem with that invalidating people's experience, because right now there are certain places in the world where some people born with an X and a Y chromosome say that it's their valid experience, that they are experiencing what it feels like to be a woman, and they are demanding that they enter, just as we're debating now and talking about now the woman's only spaces that many women want to create. They are saying we have to enter those spaces because my valid personal experience is that I feel like a woman. So you can't allow someone's personal feeling and experience to be what we determine to be valid. So there would always be discussion on those things. Kevon says, in a society with more neuroses, individual experience are not an objective marker. That's true. J. McKing says that you cannot say that I had no right to kill. I was going to say that because if that's the case, a murderer can say, because you didn't experience my life, you can't say that I don't have a right to kill a person. Exactly. Your experiences as valid. And here's the thing. Like when whoever it was said the emotional comment. The thing is, emotions are real. Emotions aren't any less real than logic. Emotions are actual real feelings that people really feel. And if you try to act like emotions aren't real, you're going to get yourself in trouble. However, you need to understand that emotions are personal. And emotions are not something that is necessarily empirical scientific solid thing in the earth. So if we're trying to get physical solutions to go with everyone, emotions have to kind of take a side seat. So there's a balance in that there. People, any further comments or questions before we dive out? Or can I, go take a little rest?
You can take a rest, but I feel next time I want to talk about colonialism and capitalism. But anyway.
I would love... Listen, Ria, you see colonialism and capitalism? That's the kind of... I would love that any day more than woman and man only gym. Any day. Pull me to talk about history and the colonists and the capitalists and what we gained and what we lost and what would have been better and what would have been... Listen, that's my kind of conversation. We could talk...
You have a conversation about socialists?
About socialists? I would love that. Socialists?
Invite me next time.
Okay.
Good point on that.
Okay, good man. All right, people. We will see each... Good night, good night.
Next time we'll enjoy this debate. Nathan, it was nice.
It was nice, Mark. All right, so this has been the Mindful Life. I hope all who are here were educated, informed, or entertained. This has been brought to you as per usual by Mindful Education, Mindful with 2 L's _ if you're looking for us over on Instagram. It's the educational institution that I run, where we offer learning pods from the stages of preschool to early primary to late primary to early secondary to late secondary. They're homeschool styled in-person small classes geared to creating a more comfortable learning experience and increase the rate of learning and the expanse of learning. We also offer private tutoring where we send tutors to your location for most CXC and CAPE subjects. If you are struggling with any of those and you need that tutor, get in touch with us. We'll send out one directly to you. Okay, as I said, I hope you were educated, informed, or entertained, and I will see you again for the next Mindful Life tomorrow, which will be Friday, around 9:15 to 9:30 p.m. That's the time I start. I started before 9:30 today. We're timely people out here in the Mindful Life, folks. So I will see you guys tomorrow for the next Mindful Life. Until then, people, peace out. Be well. Laters. Nisi, don't laugh.